All right, guys, ladies and dudes, you know what time it is. It's time for Not Just Parkinson's with Jerry Mack. I am Jay Mack, host of the program, joined by my new friend, Troy. What's up, Troy?
Hey, good to see you.
Now, we don't live that far apart.
No, I think maybe an hour and a half, probably.
Yep, I've been to Springfield.
Yeah, and I've been to St. Louis.
Yep. So tell me a little bit about your YouTube channel. I always forget. We always get rolling on these shows, and I always forget to ask people what their social media and their YouTube. So tell me about your YouTube channel and just a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
Wow me.
Wow, you. Boy, that's a big ask. So yeah, a couple of months ago. So I guess let me back up a little bit and that'll kind of roll into the kind of how we started the channel. But I was recently diagnosed. I call it recently. It's been about 6 months. I was diagnosed with Parkinson's in September, and just after a while, I just knew that I kind of wanted to use this as a kind of a springboard to help other people. I've always been in a kind of a service mindset. Some of the different jobs I've done and some of the ministries I've been involved in, and so I just thought, I want to get an understanding of what people are going through and just see if somehow I can help. So I thought, well, it'd be good to document my story a little bit. And so I started the YouTube channel. The name of it's Parkinson's Playbook. And essentially, I'm still trying to find my voice on that, to be honest. It's I want it to be a little bit maybe different than some of the other channels. I don't want to necessarily carbon copy or just log in and just share what's going on that day. I kind of want to have a bit of a purpose. And so I'm still trying to figure that out. I've got a couple of videos loaded. One is more of a kind of an introduction. And then I've got the second one is really about the process of my diagnosis, and kind of how that came to be, how we came to where we are now. So yeah, that's really it in a nutshell. But I'd like to get some commentary on the videos just to kind of see what to do next.
Well, I will put the link to Parkinson's Playbook in the description of this video per usual.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
So you ready to be questioned?
Yeah, let's do this. I'll see if I'm sharp enough today.
Now I've got some squirrely ones, so we'll just the most of them are straightforward. But I actually had this. Well, I don't want to spoil it. Let's go with it. Okay, what was your family's reaction to your diagnosis at first?
So, yeah, a lot of people when they hear the word Parkinson's, they get a little bit nervous. And I'm kind of an open book, to be honest. So I didn't really hide anything when I was starting to do my own research. And I know you and I talked a little bit, and essentially I kind of diagnosed myself in the beginning, and then I got it reaffirmed by my my family physician, and then who also has some experience with Parkinson's. I know a lot of doctors don't, but he's really good about that, and so he confirmed it. And then we went to the neurologist, and then that same first visit he confirmed it. And so my wife, of course, had kind of known what I was doing, and my kids kind of were aware. It was a few week process, and so when we got the confirmation, it was just like, okay, well, that's kind of what I was thinking. So it wasn't really a huge blow to them, I don't think, but I know that they don't necessarily have the understanding of kind of what Parkinson's is all about, how it's going to affect things. So I think they're just kind of waiting to see a little bit, about how things play out, right?
Yeah, that's what we're all at. I mean, from day to day, my wife doesn't know what. I mean, some days I walk 2 miles, other days I just like go to the mailbox and that's it. So I feel you there. All right, what's your favorite action movie? You seem like an action movie guy.
Oh man, yes, I love action
there,
movies. Now,
there can be more than one. Just some of your favorite action movies, but yeah.
So I gotta be honest, I'm a big fan of like the Bourne movies, the Bourne Identity, and I don't know what it is about that franchise, but I really like that type of movie, which is it's an action movie, but it's kind of a I don't know, action drama, kind of
Suspense.
movie, I guess. Yeah. And of course, like if you just want to go like straight action, I love the Expendables. I think Sylvester Stallone puts out some great stuff. I think he's just really talented. Stuff like that. Some of the action movies, if they're a little too over the top, though, it's kind of like I want some kind of realism, or at least a sense of it.
So
So,
you're not into the new like Steven Seagal stuff.
well, I'll be honest, I was into the original
Well,
Steven.
yeah, the original, but now he's like he's not. It's not. It's I heard I have not watched it, but I was watching Joe Rogan or something, and they said now when he breaks people's necks, he doesn't even get out of the chair. He just
Yeah, and I am a big martial arts fan. I studied martial arts in my early to mid 20s. And actually I'm actually since my Parkinson's diagnosis, I've gotten back into Kenpo karate. So big Jeff Speakman fan. I don't know if you remember the movie The Perfect Weapon. That was always a good one. That one came out in like 92, 91, 92.
I don't remember that one, but I sometimes when I'm dyskinetic, I tell my wife my whole body's a weapon.
There you
Like
go.
from the old Don Knotts movies, like my whole body's a weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
What is your greatest fear about living with Parkinson's?
Oh man. So I have a feeling this answer would change farther down the road I get. But I will tell you that immediately, it's pretty early in my diagnosis. I mean, I've got the tremors going and starting to get into this hand a little bit, but those don't bother me as much nearly. And I work a job that is well, I mean, I'm actually on my lunch break now, so I'm working at my computer. So I manage a team of IT developers, and I work for a great company, and they know of my recent diagnosis, and they've all been really really supportive. I work with a great group of people, but the I worry a little bit about like how bad the cognitive decline is going to get, how bad, the memory. And right now it's better. The sentiment I've been on for a while, and I cycled off of that for a while. And maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. But, you know, right now I'm feeling pretty good overall. But, when things have gotten a little hairy, it's because of the cognitive decline, maybe of just being more forgetful, not being able to process to try to solve complex problems for work, and that makes me wake up a little bit because I I like to work honestly, and if I get to the place where I can't work, that's gonna be a challenge for sure. I've recently been a little bit worried about just the ability to drive. Um, I can drive fine now. Of course, my wife might disagree with that, but but I do. I love cars. I'm a car guy, and
Well, we
I,
got a car question coming up here in a little bit.
oh,
So
good, 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 good.
I'm glad I always try to have a conversation with people before we do the show so I can kind of give like a read.
Yeah.
So I figured you were an action movie guy and a car guy. So I
Oh
guess
yeah, absolutely, all day long.
but I got
And
to tell you, I got to
so
tell you the one thing that I get more than anything is cognitive. People are scared to death. I mean, I've only done, I think I've got about 10 of these under my belt so far, but I'm always talking to people in the community,
right.
and that's the one thing that by far stands out to me is cognitive issues. And driving is somewhere in there, but honestly, if you can't think straight, that's a lot more scary than not being able to
Oh
drive.
yeah, no question, no doubt about it. And there's no guarantees, right? I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people say, well, you have a little bit of cognitive decline, and then it kind of flatlines a little bit, and but then others go on to have Parkinson's dementia, and you just you just it all depends on your specific genetic makeup, I think, and how it's going to affect you. So that's always been on my mind. And I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we have to take what comes, but that's been something that's been I've been thinking about a bit.
We're going to switch it up here and get silly.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, you've got to spend 24 hours with one of these people. Now I'm going to give you three people, and think before. I think I know who you're going to answer, but we don't know each other that well. Okay, three
Okay.
people. You can either spend 24 hours with Willie Nelson,
Okay.
Tom Brady, or Richard Simmons.
Man, that's actually a hard one, believe it or not.
No, I mean it is. When if you think through it, each
Yeah,
one of them you could probably learn or have something
yeah,
fun experience.
exactly. Well, I'll be honest. I'm a people person. I like talking to all kinds of people. And so my answer might actually surprise you a little bit. You probably, I'm going to guess that you thought that I'd probably say like Tom Brady,
I actually thought
potentially.
I actually put Richard Simmons in there because you're a fitness guy.
Okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair. And honestly, I think I'd like to. He would be interesting to talk to for a lot of reasons, but probably not for necessarily just his fitness knowledge, because that's all over. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
people. I mean, that's rampant. You can find fitness knowledge everywhere. But my experience in personal training and stuff in the past, certainly, but he's just an interesting character. Nevertheless, I mean, you almost want to talk to him to kind of figure out what makes him tick.
Have
And
you
you
ever
kind of see
seen
that with all three of them, to be honest about it.
have you ever seen the bits he did on Letterman? He's got a
Yeah.
sense of humor about himself.
Oh, he
I like
does. He
Letterman
does.
is just
Yeah.
dogging him. He's like going
Oh,
with
yeah.
it. He's marching around in camouflage. They go to the army surplus store. Well,
Yeah. He didn't take himself too seriously. Yeah.
I figured you're either going to pick Tom Brady or Richard Simmons. I'm I think I'd like to hang out with any of them. It seems like any way you go, you're going to have a fun
Yeah.
time.
I agree. That's a really hard one to pick, honestly. If I had to absolutely pick one, it might actually be Richard Simmons, to be honest. I do have here's a funny fun fact. And most people are blown away by this because I worked in the fitness industry for a long time. And I used to get into powerlifting and stuff. And when I was a personal trainer, so I'd go into the gym and people would come into the gym and say, "Hey, did you catch that game last night?" Blah blah blah. And they'd go on and on. I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about."
What game?
I I do not get into professional football at all, like zero. And a lot of people find that hard to believe. It's like, aren't you involved in like fitness and all that? I am, but I've never been a football fan. I watch a little bit of baseball, but that's usually if somebody else is watching it, and maybe a little basketball. My kids, I got four boys, and they're all into sports. Um, but I never really was big into football. In fact, that's probably my least favorite sport. I know I'd probably get shot for saying that, um, but Tom Brady is an interesting fellow, though.
Yeah, that's why I picked him because I don't think you have to be a football fan to think that
No,
he's got
I
something to
agree.
say.
I
All
agree.
right,
I think he's a real interesting guy for sure.
what's your most bothersome symptom with Parkinson's? What really chaps your behind that you just can't deal with? It just makes you angry.
Man, I'll tell you, and I know this might even be one that most people don't seem, one, they probably don't understand it. Those that don't have Parkinson's, and then even those that do, it might not be their number one, but my number one right now is just the battles I've had in the last 6 months with apathy. Um, I'm I'm a pretty ambitious person. I've always got something going on in my head, something I want to do. I'm always trying to do new things, trying new ideas, all kinds of things. And um, I tell you, the apathy, the heightened apathy that I felt was just, at least early on, especially right about the time I got diagnosed, and then even I think I told you I went on the sentiment for 6 weeks, and then I went off of it for about 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. And man, they're towards the end of that. Before I started it again, it was getting rough right around Christmas.
The apathy is real. That is something that is one of the first symptoms I had, and I hear that from a lot of people. It's like you just have no motivation to do anything, and it's not like you can't move. You just don't want to, and it can
Yeah,
be it can be crippling. And I think it's
crippling is the right word.
I
Honestly,
mean,
it really is
and
because
it goes hand in hand with depression. You don't know. It's
it
like
does.
it's like different fingers of the same glove, so to
Yeah.
speak.
And a lot of people I've noticed in some of the other channels that I've watched, when they try to describe apathy, it sounds a lot like depression. But honestly, they are really two different things. They do go
Yes.
hand in hand a lot of the time, I think. But, um, and I had been one that has struggled with depression and anxiety at different times in my life. But apathy is definitely, this has made me realize how different and it's just a different symptom. It's coupled with depression and anxiety for sure, but it's definitely different. And what I can say is taking sentiment really, really has helped with that. Like right now, I feel pretty good, and I just started feeling this way probably within the last say 3 weeks, probably.
Better living through chemistry, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, and then I wonder, okay, how long is this going to last? And I'm like, okay, let's not think about that. We're just
Don't
gonna
think about it.
we're gonna take today for what it is and enjoy
Let's
it.
let's think about cars. What's the favorite car you've ever owned?
Okay, so I've had a lot of cars. In fact, I made an Excel spreadsheet one day because people were asking me how many I had. I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of like, oh, I don't know, it was like 49 or something.
Holy crap!
Um, and I mean, it's counting everything, family vehicles, little side, because I've always had like a side vehicle project. Not all of them have been great, but right now I've got a 35 Plymouth, and I got that
Oh, sweet
from,
action.
I inherited that from my uncle when he passed away back in 2018. Um, but I'm a Pontiac guy, and my all-time
GTO.
favorite is the GTO, and
Yep.
I've had 8 of those. And I sold my last one. I've had 568s, and I sold my last one in almost 2 years ago. But my favorite is the 70. I had a 70 convertible pro street car, and yeah, that one's probably my favorite. I'd love to have a 70 Judge, but GTO Judge, but man, they are
Oh
so
yeah.
pricey now.
You
So
know,
pricey.
there's a guy 2 blocks over from me, and I only found this out because I was going for one of my morning walks, and he restores Pontiac GTOs, and he's got like a 3 car garage, but he actually has like
Right.
a stack like where you can lift it up. So
Yeah.
he's got like 3 or 4 GTOs in there.
Stacked.
And
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, it's I mean, it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, they're just really expensive these days. I mean, really expensive. Like if I had, some of the first ones I had, if I had them in the same condition today, they would be, oh man, like 30 times the price,
Yep, yep.
Just
Classic
crazy.
car. You know, it's cool in like movies now. Even though they're made modern, check out how many classic cars are in new movies.
Yeah,
You could
for
rent
sure.
it out and make money on that.
I
All right, we
know,
got
right?
we got one more question here.
Okay.
What would be your professional wrestling name? You actually look like kind of a pro wrestler. I got to tell you,
Oh man. You
Stone
know
Cold
what?
Steve Austin.
So this is funny, and I thought this one might come. Yeah, I actually have told that you look stone cold. Yeah.
Yep.
I always get told that I look like three people: Stone Cold, and then it was Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars. That's
Oh yeah, yeah,
when I
yeah,
get a little fluffy,
yeah.
I look like Rick Harrison, and then when I'm a little leaner, I've been told I look like Bruce Willis. But I think
I
my
can see
face
all
is a
three of
little too
those.
full from that right now. But anyway, I expected you might ask this because again, I've watched your other videos, and so you've asked that question a lot. So I thought about it, and I had one picked out, but I think I'd probably change it. I think at first I was thinking, oh, what was I? What did I come up with? It was something with Parky in it, and uh, and then I thought there's a running joke going with the my colleagues that I work with. We went axe throwing a couple of years ago. Right after I started, we had a team event, and we were axe throwing, and we each had to come up with our own names, and somehow somebody attributed one to me, and they called me Apple Butter. And
I
for no reason,
love it. Go with it,
we
bro.
we don't even know why.
Go with it.
So now they still call me Apple Butter sometimes, and so I'd probably go with Apple Butter, and then I think, okay, what would my finishing move be? Just put apple butter in their eyes where they can't see.
I love it. I love it, bro. Well, this has been a great conversation. We should do this again, Troy.
Absolutely, anytime.
All right. Well, that's all we got for this episode of Not Just Parkinson's. I, of course, am J Mac, joined by Troy, saying, be excellent to yourself.